Blockchain and AI, investment opportunities between GCC and neighboring East Africa. Ambitious investment into digitisation on all levels is providing the Arab world with an economic edge. After negotiations on a digital payment bridge with China, East Africa and the GCC are building progressive bridges.
Hello. I know you're a bit tired getting to that time of the day, right? So it's an interesting panel. As you see, we're going to be talking about the opportunity for blockchain and AI investment between GCC and East Africa, which more is emerging markets. And my name is John Kamara. I'm the founder for Ada Labs and the African Blockchain Center in Nairobi. And I have an esteemed panel of guests here. So I'm going to give them about 30 seconds to a minute to talk quickly about themselves and what they do while we then dive into it.
Right, my name is Mohammed Salman Anjum. I'm the chief mate for the InvoiceMate, the business application that is connecting the conventional business world with the crypto. And also I'm the head of the BSV blockchain in the region.
Thank you.
My name is Jeff Mkungusi, Director, Africa Blockchain Center in Africa, and also head of a couple of other startups in Africa. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Vera Fedoriansky. I'm the CEO and founder of Veritas Ventures. I don't do as much with Africa yet. I hope to do more. I advise a couple of startups that are active in Africa. Otherwise, I'm based here in Dubai. It's been almost 7 years. Started as a founder of a startup, moved into ecosystem enabler with Dubai government and 500 startups, and now moving onto the VC side.
And my name is Niels Terran Ortiz. I'm the CEO of Paypolitan. Paypolitan is a payment application, halfway Apple Pay and MetaMask. And I also represent the Kingdom of Bahrain, EDB, in France and Germany. And I have 12 years working experience in Northern Africa.
Fantastic. So you can see, you agree with me, we have an esteemed lineup of guests here. But I'm going to start with you, Vera, first of all.
Ladies first.
One of the interesting things coming to Dubai is seeing how people are talking about blockchain. So what do you see as the opportunity for the GCC in the blockchain space, and what are the interesting use cases you're seeing as value add that is changing the region?
In the region, meaning in the Middle East?
Yes.
So in connection to Africa, you mean, what the opportunities are? Well, I think opportunities are immense, and I just had a conversation, in fact, with Kim, and I was saying that Africa has been leapfrogging before, right, in the whole mobile adoption. I remember when I was with Rocket Internet, we were building startups back then in emerging countries, and many countries had such difficulties adapting to the new mobile everything. And Africans were so agile and so quick just because they didn't have to go through all the different instances from, like, you know, the phone with the cord to the computer to the laptop, the one from the phone, if at all, to the mobile directly. So they're very agile, very quick. And I think the same will happen with the blockchain and crypto space as well. They will adapt so quickly just because they don't go through those old formed, and I'm part German myself, so nothing against old formed habits by, you know, European or Western countries, but there sometimes those habits make them very slow, whereas I think Africa will be so quick in the adaptation of new technologies, including, you know, crypto and blockchain. And as you know, Dubai government plans to become a city on blockchain. Every government transaction is to be moved on blockchain by, you know, in the next few years. So I think, you know, with that leading the way, Dubai being a hub, you know, to go to Africa from here very quickly, as they already became a logistics hub, I see a lot of opportunities, not just in the blockchain space, but also in agriculture. We can talk about it separately, but I think there are immense opportunities in Africa.
Interesting. Mohamed, you tell me about some projects that you did. What are the kind of things that you're doing in Africa at the moment that you think make sense, that is driving forward the need for blockchain in Africa?
Yeah, we just been to Sudan. We did the first blockchain summit there, and we signed up 3 MOUs with the different government entities. They are all going to adopt blockchain, so the nature of the MOUs are relevant to the knowledge transfer because that's the first step. And then, of course, the second step is to give them opportunity to explore the technology with their POCs, pilot projects. And then in some capacity, we are also working with them for their national blockchain strategy. So this is very recently, we just went there in the first week of April, and now in like month and a half, there's a good progress in that side. And just to add on the UAE part, if we safely say this is the capital of enterprise blockchain, I mean UAE, this is absolutely correct, because 50% of the government transactions by 2023 will be on blockchain. And there are set number of KPIs for each government authorities to use blockchain applications and in their regular operations.
Sudan, that's interesting. I would never thought anybody would go to blockchain in Sudan of yet. This is part of the interesting opportunity. Jeff, what are the challenges that you see working in the African Blockchain Center, and what are you guys doing, and what are the challenges that you see facing the impact or growth of blockchain in the continent?
Yeah. So ideally, working in the African Blockchain Center for a while now, and getting the opportunity to train around 200 to 300 blockchain engineers in a time frame of 5 to 6 months. The biggest challenge, which has been interacting with all these people in Africa, is they say that there's a big lack of resources out there in regards to them being self-taught in blockchain technology, and also lack of expertise in Africa. So even though Africa is, adapting the technology in a specific time frame, and also in regards to each moving in a verge of being a smart city, there is still a bit of lag in regards to, this penetration of resources and technical expertise in Africa. So that's the biggest challenge.
Interesting. Niels, let's go to you and let's kind of hear a little bit about what you're doing and the market you're doing it with, and what you see as the relationship between that and the opportunity in Africa.
I see a very huge opportunity when it comes to banking. I had a project in Senegal and Gambia maybe 15 years ago, and all the guys had their money in their mobile phone. I said, yeah, but that is dangerous. If you lose it, I said, yeah, at least I keep it in my hands. If it brings to the bank, maybe tomorrow I have nothing in my bank account. So that was a learning. And I think if Africa would adopt open banking policies, this is a huge potential, because Africa is already, like, in terms of mobile payment, 15 years ahead. As the banking structures totally failed, infrastructure failed, so everything was invested into mobile phones and mobile networks, and that is very good. And I think this is a huge potential in also adoption. You have a very young population, and if you have seamless and hassle-free usage of banking with your mobile phone, this is a huge potential. And I think, sorry to say, in Europe we could learn from Africa.
Interesting. Europe's going to learn from Africa. Vera, back to you. So what do you see as the investment opportunity, and how do you think Africa can drive investors into this space, and what would you tell them is the opportunity for them?
Well, like I was saying before, because of being so agile and so quickly adaptable, like I was saying, other countries really stay, they're very slow because of their habits. I think, first of all, I do think big opportunities in blockchain. Actually, what Niels just said, I wanted to emphasize that. There's a report by the World Bank in 2018 that already said that in sub-Saharan Africa, 31%, I think it was, of the population had money on mobile phones. It was the mobile banking. It's the highest percentage in the whole world. Can you imagine? I mean, people don't really recognize what potential there is, how easily people trust, and they use their phones for that, like they did back then already by leapfrogging what I mentioned before. So 100%, on that space, mobile banking, blockchain, agriculture, I think as well. Africa has such a young population. It comes with difficulties as well. I think for an African entrepreneur, it's very hard to navigate because it's so fragmented as well, right? It's not just one market. It's not like the US, everything is English and it's one market. You have many different countries, so it's a continent, and every country comes with its challenges, similar like we have here in the Middle East as well, right? You use Dubai as a hub, and then you go to different markets, but it's not always easy. But as an entrepreneur, and African entrepreneurs surely are very adaptable, to difficulties, to challenges, and they learn quickly. So, huge opportunities there. And I think with the right investment and to attract people to Africa, we need to show some results like Flutterwave. I think the name is your recent fintech unicorn is an amazing example how quickly it became a unicorn in Africa. Jumia, which I worked on back then, was the first unicorn in Africa. So I'm always very happy to see those success stories. And we need to bring more of those success stories to the world for people to see the potential Africa has.
Brilliant. Quickly, Mohammed, as we keep running out of time, what are the key two major use cases you see for Sudan in using blockchain?
Yeah, digital ID is the first one because that's the area where they can do a lot of frog leaping. Blockchain is an enabler for digital transformation 2.0, and this gives like governments an opportunity, those who are now coming into the digital transformation. They don't need to use the technologies of 2000, 2010. They can use the technology of current time, and blockchain is that. And it brings the trust and integrity, so digital ID is something they are very keen to work on. And at the same time, it's like, again, with the education ministry, and that is about their overall educational record and career records on the blockchain. So these are the two major use cases they are now trying to pursue in the next 6 months to 1 year time.
Very interesting. I'd like to learn more about that. Jeff, then if you look at the opportunities that then exist in Africa, why have we not built our own blockchain solutions? Why are there no, African blockchain originating from the continent right now?
I mean, the biggest issue in Africa right now is in regards to, like going through the blockchain technology and appreciating it as it is, and also the urge. So most businesses, as they are, they're silo-based in regards to, the architecture of the applications they have. It's either, have an interface, an API, a database, and they're okay with that in regards to, so long as it's making money on the end, they're okay. They just don't want to go beyond that because most people in regards to Africans, they're afraid of change. And as you know, blockchain technology is a movement whereby we have to, obtain and appreciate the advantages that blockchain has, immutability, decentralization, security, and also, distribution. So when us as the Africa Blockchain Center trying to demystify this technology to the people in the simplest format as it is to understand the potential of this technology so that they can use it in their business, so that they can change the normal architecture of the applications, then it can be used.
Brilliant. And Niels, back to you. Funny. When we talk about remittances, which is in banking, Africa has one of the largest remittances at the minute. How do you think blockchain can help transform that into an economy of scale, as you talk about open banking?
Yes, I would like to add something to the previous speaker. There is a big challenge I see in Africa. I mean, blockchain technology is on one side very good, very interesting, because it's distributed ledger. On the other side, it's highly energy consuming. So having worked myself 11 years in Africa, if you experience electricity shortage every day, and then you have this blockchain technology that is consuming loads of energy, I think there's a big challenge to make this technology less energy consuming for the African market first. But second, I see a huge potential because Africa is very fertile, and lack of any regulations, we could take some learnings and lessons from the past, what have been done so far, and adopt like a very flexible and pragmatic regulation for African nations. I think that would give the local blockchain markets a boost. And of course, banking, if everyone who has a cell phone can simply manage himself his own banking and not depending on any interest rate from the national bank, but simply like maybe a yield percentage that makes it much more attractive for any user, be it in Africa, be it in the MENA region, or wheresoever he is in the world.
Brilliant. So in one word, everyone, because of time, what is the thing you feel Africa needs to do to really embrace blockchain?
Sure. Just on this note, that there is a value of blockchain for African continent. Why? Because you just mentioned about the electricity failures. Yes, I've been there, so I know that as a fact. But distributed ledger has this benefit that you just have to pay the transaction cost. The nature of the architecture is distributed, infrastructure is distributed, so there is nothing big pressure on the infrastructure within the African continent. So that's why another feature of blockchain is that it caters to that need of the electricity shortage. So now coming to your point, what is needed now, the action step? I think already there has been quite an awareness about the need to move for the next step, but that next step has to be with the purpose. Technology should not be adopted for the sake of technology. There has to be a solid use case behind it, and then only then you can move forward. And for that, I think there needs to be a little bit refined assessment first, the needs and the gap analysis, and then make the use cases for a production grade, not just always the POCs and the pilots.
Jeff, one word. How do you think Africa should embrace blockchain?
Well, I believe first of all is the mentality of the Africans. When we actually change that in regards to, showing them the advantages of the technology and how it can be used, as the previous speakers said, that we need to define a pure use case of that particular technology and how it can enable the business, then it can be used.
Fair, one word.
I might be a bit biased, but I think it's all due to entrepreneurs, right? So I work with a lot of entrepreneurs. I think it's the entrepreneurs who will really innovate and bring change in a country, in a continent. So two things: give opportunities to entrepreneurs, because talent is there, right? The talent is there, the opportunities are missing, number one. And second, educate investors. Not just your local investors, because you do have a lot of resources as well, but this money is not necessarily going to entrepreneurs and innovation. So educate local investors and educate global investors to look at Africa.
One word.
I wish open source technology and blockchain for Africa. That's the way how we could boost innovation on that continent.
Okay, as we round up finally, for me, I hope you've enjoyed some of what our panel has talked about. But one of the important things, having lived in Africa for the past 6 years, from moving from Europe and setting up an incubation lab to try and train startups, it has to be intentional, everything that we do. The opportunity that exists in Africa is immense, and we can teach the world a lot of interesting lessons because we don't have the legacy of regulations. We can create our own regulations, and the amount of wealth, what we call digitization, also shows you the amount of wealth that exists in this continent. And I have seen it with my own eyes for the past 6 years, having moved from Ireland. So when we also talk to investors, you can see the renaissance of African technology happening with so many African startups getting invested into, but especially in the blockchain space, we're beginning to see places like the African Blockchain Center wanting to throw in blockchain engineers, which means they can compete in the global market. So what we say to investors and everybody who wants to look at the next home for technology, look no farther than Africa, because we're intentional about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.